What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Master Duel Dark Magician deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because Dark Magician just got an amazing structure deck and Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel that boosts up this deck by a lot. This deck is super fun to be able to play and an extremely powerful deck. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description every single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Dark Magician. Dark Magician is an extremely important combo piece in this deck, but you really only need 2 copies in this build. This card really is the ultimate wizard in terms of attack and defense. We then play a single copy of Dark Magician Girl. Dark Magician Girl is a really good one-of in the deck, but you only really need a single copy of the Dark Magician Girl to be able to use in this build. We then play a single copy of Timaeus the United Dragon. This card is a definite one-of in the deck and is basically a walking polymerization and has a super cool effect that you can send a spellcaster monster or spell trap that mentions Dark Magician from your hand face up from your field to the graveyard to be able to special summon this card from your hand. And then during your main phase, you can fusion summon a fusion monster from your X deck using monsters from your hand or field as a material, including a spellcaster monster, which is a really good effect. We then play 2 copies of Illusion of Chaos. We finally have Illusion of Chaos in Master Duel. This card is a great searcher for the deck and is a welcome addition to the Dark Magician build in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. This card is a great searcher that has the ability to reveal this card in your hand to add a Dark Magician or 1 non-ritual monster that mentions it from your deck to your hand, and then place a card from your hand on top of your deck, which is a really good effect to be able to search out cards like Magician's Soul from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Magician's Rod. Magician's Rod is the best normal summon that we have in the deck, because when this card is normal summon, you get to add a spell or trap from your deck to your hand that specifically lists the card Dark Magician in its text, which is a great effect to be able to use in this deck, and this card is essentially the Stratos of the deck. We then play 3 copies of Magician Souls. Magician Souls is a definite 3-of in this particular build, and it has the ability that while it's on the field, you can send up to 2 spell and traps from your hand or face your field to the graveyard to be able to draw that many cards, which is a great effect to be able to use to just be able to draw additional cards from your deck. It also has the ability, if this card's in your hand, you can send a level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from your deck to the graveyard to activate one of these effects, either special summon this card or send this card to the graveyard and then special summon 1 Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your graveyard, which is a great effect to have for this card. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is just a fantastic hand trap at stopping your opponent from touching the deck. We then also play 2 copies of Maxi. I feel like 2 is totally fine in this deck to basically just stop your opponent from special summoning, because once you discard this card, usually your opponent stops for their turn, or they're going to let you draw a bunch of cards off this effect. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is an extremely important spell in the deck because we have some really cool field spells that we can actually search with this card. We then play a single copy of Dark Magic Attack. Dark Magic Attack is a good one-of in the deck to basically just board wipe your opponent's spells and traps while you have a Dark Magician face up on the field, which is a really cool effect for this card to have. We then play a single copy of Secrets of Dark Magic. Secrets of Dark Magic is a really cool card in this deck, but we're only using it for its fusion effect to basically treat this card as polymerization, which is just a really cool effect. We then play a single copy of Magicalized Fusion. Magicalized Fusion is a good one-of in this build to help you fusion summon into some really powerful cards by using cards from your graveyard as fusion material. We then play a single copy of Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Secret Village of the Spellcasters is a good one-of in the deck, but I only feel like you need a single copy of this card to be able to lock down your opponent with, because we do play Terraforming in this build. But this card is really good because if only you control a spellcaster monster, then your opponent cannot activate spell cards, and if you don't control a spellcaster monster, you can't activate spell cards, which is not that big of a deal in this particular build because we have easy ways to be able to get back our copies of our spellcasters to our side of the field, like our copies of Eternal Soul, which can just bring a Dark Magician back to our side of the field, or just normal summon something like a copy of Magician's Rod, which is really easy to do. We then play a single copy of Magician's Salvation. Magician's Salvation is a great one-of in this deck to be able to activate to immediately get to a copy of Eternal Soul, which is just really, really good. And if you normal or special summon Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, then you can target one of those monsters and special summon a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your graveyard with a different name than the targeted monster, which is a great effect to be able to use to basically always have both of them on the field. We then play 2 copies of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is still at 2 in Yugioh Master Duel, which is amazing just to be able to stop hand traps, and this card is a definite 2 of in this build. We're then playing 2 copies of Dark Magical Circle. Dark Magical Circle is basically like Pot of Duality, while also letting you banish cards off your opponent's side of the field when you special summon or normal summon Dark Magician to your side of the field, which is just really good. Because when this card is activated, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you get to reveal a Dark Magician or a spell or trap that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text among those cards and add it to your hand, which is a great effect. And then you get to place the remaining cards on top of your deck in any order, which is just such a powerful effect to be able to use. We then play 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. Preparation of Rites is really good to be able to search out our copy of Illusion of Chaos. It's just a really good card in this deck to be able to just immediately get to Illusion of Chaos, which in turn will get us to our copy of Magician Souls, which is just absolutely insane. We then play 3 copies of Soul Servant. Soul Servant is a definite 3 of in the deck that lets you place 1 card on top of your deck from your hand, deck, or graveyard that is either Dark Magician or a card that specifically lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl in its text, except another copy of this card, which is a great effect to be able to use. This card helps out a lot to combo with your copy of your Dark Magical Circle, because you're going to be able to basically excavate the top card that you put on top of the deck with Soul Servant, which is just really, really good. It also fixes the top card of your deck as well, so when you use the second effect of Soul Servant, you know what you're going to draw, which is really good, because this card has also the ability that you can banish this card from the graveyard, and then draw cards equal to the number of Paladinium monsters, Dark Magician, and or Dark Magician Girl with different names on the field or in the graveyards, which is a great effect to be able to use, because usually you're going to get a draw 2 off your copy of Soul Servant. We then play 3 copies of Upstart Goblin, because Upstart Goblin is still at 3 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, which is absolutely crazy that this card is still at 3 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. It's a really good 3 of in this particular build, especially since you can basically just turn this deck into a 37 card deck with Upstart Goblin to get to the exact combo pieces that you need. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing a few traps. We're going to be playing 2 copies of Skill Drain, because Skill Drain is still at 2 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and 2 copies of Eternal Soul. Since our main boss monster is a vanilla monster, Skill Drain is just really, really good, because it basically just turns off your opponent's entire field of monsters, which is just really good, while we still have the most powerful wizard in terms of attack and defense, which is just really, really good. Our copies of Eternal Soul is a definite 2 of the deck. It's pretty much a 3 of with our copy of Magician's Salvation, but this card has the ability every Dark Magician in your monster zone is unaffected by your opponent's card effects, and if this face-up card leaves the field, destroy all monsters that you control, and you can only use the following effects as card once per turn. As you can special summon 1 Dark Magician from your hand or graveyard, or add 1 Dark Magic attack or 1,000 Eyes from your deck to your hand, which is a really good effect to be able to use in this particular deck to get immediately to your copy of your Dark Magic attack to board wipe your opponent, which is why I'm playing that over the copy of Harpy's Feather Duster in this particular build, because you can search it off the effect of your Eternal Soul, which is just absolutely crazy. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of Master of Chaos. Master of Chaos is a really good one-of in this particular build. It's just absolutely crazy. It's pretty much the main boss monster that I'm summoning all the time from the extra deck, which has the ability, if this card is fusion summoned, you can target a light or dark monster in your graveyard and special summon it, which is a super powerful effect to help you just swarm the board. But it also has the ability to contribute a light or dark monster and then banish all monsters that your opponent currently controls, which is a crazy powerful effect to help you OTK the opponent. It also gives you the monster that you contribute, which is just really, really good. And this card also has the ability, if this fusion summon card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can target a spell in your graveyard and add it back to your hand, which is just a really cool effect. We then play a single copy of Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. This card is a great one-of in the deck that you're usually going to use Timaeus plus a Dark Magician to go into this card, but this card is really good to protect your back row just by putting this card on your side of the field. We then play a single copy of the Dark Magicians. The Dark Magicians is really good as a one-of in this particular build to help you just draw cards in this deck, and it's just really good because once per turn, if a spell or trap card effect is activated, except during the damage step, you can draw a card, and if it's a spell or trap, then you can set it to your side of the field, and if it's a trap or a quick play, you can activate it the same turn it was set, which is just such a powerful effect. And it doesn't even have to be you that activates the card. Your opponent can activate a spell or trap, and then you get to draw, which is just really, really nice. And if this card is destroyed by any means, you can special summon both one Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl from your hand, deck, or graveyard, essentially breaking the fusion back into the two monsters, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Baron de Fleur. Baron de Fleur is just a really cool one-of in this particular deck to have as a negate because our main boss monster is level 7, and all you have to do is normal summon out an Ash Blossom to be able to make Baron de Fleur, which is just absolutely crazy to have this walking negate on your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is just a great boss monster in just about any deck to be able to pop multiple cards on the field. It's just a great boss monster in this particular build. We then play a single copy of Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, keeping it going with the nostalgia factor of this deck. This card is super good in this deck, and it just comes out absolutely massive at 3,000 attack points, and it has a super cool effect that if this card was link summoned using a level 7 or higher monster as a material, which you can just use Dark Magician for that requirement, then your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects either, which makes this card extremely hard for your opponent to deal with. And when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can activate one of these effects to either boost this card by 1,500 attack points permanently, or make a second attack during the next battle phase of your next turn, or banish one card on the field non-targeting, which is just really, really good. We then play a single copy of Nightmare Unicorn to spin stuff. This card is really good as a one-of in this deck to be able to spin cards off the field. One copy of Selene. Selene is really good in this Dark Magician deck because we have multiple spellcasters that we can bring back and then climb into cards like Access Code. We then play a single copy of Nightmare Phoenix to be able to pop spells and traps. One copy of Dark the Dark Charmer, just in case we need it. This card is just a good one-of in any dark deck, just about. One copy of IP Masquerena. IP Masquerena is good in this deck to be able to make Unicorn during the opponent's turn. One copy of Verte Anaconda, because it is still at 1 in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, which is just crazy to me that this card is still at 1, but you can use Magical Eyes Fusion with this card, which is really neat. We then play a single copy of Artemis. Artemis is a must one-of in this particular deck to be able to just say normal summon out Magician's Rod and then link it away for your copy of Artemis, which is just really nice. One copy of Imduk, just in case we need to turn our copy of Dark Magician into an effect monster, just in case. And then finally, a single copy of Relinquished Anima, just in case we need to gobble up an opponent's monster, which is just really a great option. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy. This deck is super fun to be able to play, and you can basically pick up the majority of it by just picking up 3 of the structure decks that they're offering in the shop, which is really, really nice. I love this deck. It's super fun to be able to play in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and I love that they gave us a new artwork for the 1-year anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. It's crazy that the game's been out for an entire year, and it's so fun to play. So, anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come for our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.